I'm Tangi Cousins. We are a nationwide lead provider. We provide leads to investors, realtors, attorneys, and just your basic first-time home buyer. We've been in the business since 2004, and since then, we've been in the internet's #1 destination for the most detailed, timely information out there. Now, before we get started, we are going to be opening it up to Q&A in the end. So I'd love for you guys to send in your questions during the whole entire presentation, as Brent is going to be answering questions in the end of this webinar. He'll probably speak for maybe, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes or so, and open it up to when he feels like opening it up for Q&A. So guys, I'm Tangi Cousins. I've been with the company since they opened almost 20 years ago. I've been helping realtors, attorneys, and investors grow their business and increase their revenues. I do teach the different lead types, the types of marketing, the do's and don'ts of marketing, and so on and so forth. My email is at the bottom of the screen, Tangi@ForeclosuresDaily.com. If you feel you didn't get your questions answered by the time the webinar is over, just let me know and we'll go ahead and take care of that for you. Some of the ways, I see Brent there, just dying to get on, and we can't wait to introduce him, like 5 more minutes. How we are different: all of our leads are weekly and fresh, and they're all farm for real estate. Guys, other companies are quarterly and they're not physically farming for real estate. You do not want to market to 300 people who filed probate or divorce if only like 20 or 25 had properties. We actually farm through them for you to make sure there is real estate attached. A lot of companies out there do not do that, and that's what makes us different, is weekly fresh data farm for real estate. Now, some of the leads we offer here at Foreclosures Daily are probate, pre-probate, inheritance, code violation, eviction, and divorce are like the top running 6 right now. Guys, probates and pre-probates by far are some of the best leads out there. They have the most equity. They typically don't mind taking a discount, and they're very motivated to sell. People tend to be older when they lose their parents, so they usually don't want the property. Now, you're not going to get more than, let's say, 20 to 25 leads a week per lead type for one county. The reason we put like a cap on it is we have to know what to charge you. You're going to be, you're going to be astounded to know that most people that die don't own property. You'd be lucky to get 20 to 25 in your county, but their niche list. A lot of people think you have to wait for the whole probates to finish before you buy the property, and that's not true. Most counties and states you can buy almost right away, guys. So because of that lack of knowledge and misconception, the competition is very, very minimal with these types of leads. We are going to have some really good specials going on tonight just for being on Brent Daniels' webinar. So if you just mention Brent Daniels and fill out the form at ForeclosuresDaily.com, you will get 20 to 30% off. We do give you free marketing. We give you all of our postcards and our letters that we do recommend. And we have a specific skip tracing company and mail house company that we also recommend that will give you deeply discounted wholesaling prices just for using them and mentioning our name. Love the postcard that has a picture of the house on it. There's a cute little arrow pointing to it. I would put things like, guys, hey, is this your house? Are you selling this? This is exciting. I'm so interested in this property. Please reach back out to me immediately. They're only charging 38 to 42 cents with postage for a lot of these postcards. Most people charge like $1 to $1.10. We also have the letter with the handwritten font. They do charge only 64 cents for that. And then here's marketing by hand. It's literally by hand, guys. They're sitting there writing out envelopes and letters all day long to be a little more personal touch. Wendy Henderson and Jeff Rhodes do a great job running marketing by hand. So reach out to them as well. We do give you a lot of bonuses. One of the things you get when you buy leads through us is this book. And I know you guys are a big fan of reading, Brent. This is Probate Real Estate Sales 101, and it's written by Kevin Sales. We actually do monthly webinars, so we have the honor of having Kevin Sales on our monthly webinar, teaching these 7 ways to make money with probate real estate investing. So you're gonna get a copy of that book. You're gonna get our 6-step mailing campaign, our do's and don'ts of marketing webinar, our postcards, letters. The book will be mailed to you. You'll also get a copy of that webinar. You'll get a copy of my webinar of me teaching marketing do's and don'ts. So you get a lot of bonuses just for using our leads, and you do get a discount for being referred by Brent. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to your amazing speaker. Guys, Brent Daniels, I've known him for many, many years. I actually met him from Wholesaling Inc. Summit in North Carolina, Asheville, North Carolina. You remember that hotel, Brent?
I do. That was beautiful.
Oh, that was such a beautiful hotel. I wouldn't even stay there. That thing was like $350 a night. But guys, I drove over every day. But let me tell you something. It was just like being in this big airport, and you'd need a golf cart just to get your coffee in the morning. It was just so huge. But guys, this is Brent Daniels. He's a multi-million-dollar wholesale out of Phoenix, Arizona. He's personally coached over 3,000 wholesalers, and he's helped over 100,000 investors who currently listen to him on the Wholesaling Inc. podcast. Guys, Brent is second to none. He's a natural-born industry leader in the space today for real estate. Thanks a lot, Brent, for being on our webinar today. We really appreciate you.
Let's go, Tangi. What an opening. Holy cow. You're incredible. It's almost like you've done that before.
Yeah, only about 159 times.
I love it. Well, thank you so much, guys. We have been using Probates Daily for a long, long time, and they've made us an absolute fortune in finding really great opportunities. But I will tell you this. Without a doubt. You can have the best data. You can have the best phone numbers. But if you're not having conversations and making offers to property owners, nothing happens. That's it. If you boil down real estate investing down to 2 words, conversations and offers, you will win. If you have enough quality conversations and make enough offers, just depending on what strategy you are, maybe you're wholesaling, maybe you're flipping, maybe you're building your rental portfolio. It doesn't matter. You still have to have quality conversations and make offers. Okay. So this is all about taking action. This is all about going out every single day and talking to new people. And the title of my presentation today, for all you incredible real estate entrepreneurs, real estate investors, real estate wholesalers, whatever you are, is 10 secrets I wish I knew before I got started. All right.
I'm going to go ahead and let you take it from here, Brent, but I want to be real clear. We don't give phone numbers, but we do recommend a really good skip tracing company. And I know you'll teach them all that good stuff too about calling people. So
get out of here, Tangi. Get out of here. I'm ready to take over.
We'll see you soon.
Listen, number one is this, guys. And this took me a long time to figure out, because when I got started, I wanted to force all of these property owners into the situation that I was looking for. I knew that they should sell their properties. But if you write this down and you really understand this is going to save you so much heartache and so much headache. We are deal finders, not deal creators. This was taught to me by my mentor, Tom Kroll, that Tangi knows really well, and it's the absolute fact. We are deal finders, not deal creators. Let me explain what I mean. That doesn't mean that you can't be creative. That means, number one, when you are speaking with a property owner, when you're calling these probate lists, when you're calling the pre-probate lists, when you're calling the pre-foreclosures or the pre-foreclosures, and I can break that down what the differences in all those lists are. When you're having those conversations, the number one thing you have to find out is, have they made the decision they're going to sell the property? Have they made that decision? Because if they haven't made that decision, you're wasting your time. All right. You are never going to convince somebody to sell their property. You're never going to convince them that this is the right thing to do. They have to convince themselves. Now, certainly, if they're in a pre-foreclosure situation and they can't work it out with the bank and they don't have the financial resources and they're going to lose the house, you need to work through that with them. Let them understand the reality of the situation, what can happen. Because a lot of people don't understand what's going to happen if they don't do something about a pre-foreclosure, right? But pre-foreclosures are a teeny, tiny fraction of the property owners that we're going to talk to. They're very small. I mean, if you're proactive every single day and you're reaching out to new property owners as often as possible because you're really taking this serious, the amount of pre-foreclosures that you're going to talk to is way smaller than the other lists. It's a great list. It's a fundamental list. It's a foundational list, but it's not going to take up your whole time to reach out to foreclosures. So with that being said, and even probates, you have to find out if they've made the decision they're going to sell. You putting all your effort and all of your passion and all of everything that you have behind trying to convince them to sell, it's not going to work. So don't do that. Do not do that. We're deal finders, not deal creators. So number one, a lead in real estate is somebody that has made the decision that they're going to sign a document, the title over to somebody else. They're going to sign title over to somebody else. That's fundamental. They've made that decision. And as long as you've pulled that out of them and you know 100% that they're going to sell their property, then you can move forward. Okay. Number two is this. It's about people over the properties. Now, a lot of people, when you're getting started, we get a little bit nervous and we start talking about, well, tell me about the house. Tell me about how old it is. Tell me about what's going on with it. Tell me about this. Tell me about that. How old's the roof? What kind of flooring? What kind of things are going on, right? We go through all the little things about the house that we need to know. And condition is important. But I'm telling you, 80% of the phone call should be about the person. Why are they selling? What's going on? What will happen after they sell this? If they don't sell it, what will happen? All of these things are so important to understand. We have to know more about the people and their motivation than we do about the properties. Because the property, everybody's going to say the same thing. Okay, tell me the age of the roof. Okay, great. How's the air conditioner? How's the boiler? How's the pool equipment? How's the basement? How's all of these things? And they're not getting the real meat and potatoes. Why do they want to sell? Why now? What's their timeline for this? We have to figure out those things. 80% has to be in the discovery phase. It has to be introduction. You introduce yourself. Second step is discovery. And what I love to do here, and this is something that I coach all the time, is don't negotiate against them. Don't. Always be on their side of the table and have somebody that's going to review your offers. Now, if you want to go big investor and you want to say, I make all the decisions, do all that, great. You're going to do less deals. Have somebody that is your underwriter. That could be your wife. That could be your husband. That could be your coach. That could be your mentor. That could be whoever, somebody that's going to double check your numbers. But if you go in there and you say, hey, listen, what I like to do on these calls, first you introduce yourself and then you frame the call. What I'd like to do on these calls is just get some information about what's going on with you and the property. And then I take all that information and I give it to my underwriter and they tell me if we're approved to buy the house and at what price. Okay. Does that make sense? Great. Do you mind if I ask you those questions now? Yes. Boom. Then you ask the questions and then you be quiet because they should be doing the talking. They should be the ones telling you everything. When they're talking, you're in control of the conversation. And you're the one that is discovering whether or not you can even help this person out. That's all it is. This isn't some game to be able to use against them. This is to figure out, can I actually be of service to this person? Can I bring value to this person? Because if you can't bring value to the property owners, you don't get paid. Your earned income is equal to the amount of value you provide to the marketplace. So how do you know how much value you could provide to the marketplace if you don't know what's going on with them? So introduction, discovery, transition. That's when you're starting to talk about what kind of offers that you can give them about your company, about the things going on there. And then you make your offer and then there's commitment. It's 5 steps. Write it down. Introduction, discovery, transition, offer, commitment. Boom, boom, boom. You follow those steps. I'm telling you, you will win. You will win massive. If you go into it and you go, okay, listen, I'm looking at your house. It looks like you could probably get this much. I can give you this much. What do you think? You're going to lose out. But if you go in there and just explain to them how those calls work, they're going to work with you. They're going to work with it. And if they don't, then they're not going to do business with you anyway. Before you ask me any questions, tell me about your company. Tell me what's going on. Yeah, I would love to tell you about the company. I was just more important. This is more about you. I want to see what's going on with your situation and about the property. If I could just ask you a few questions, I could take it to my underwriter and we can see if we're a right fit for buying this property and the property meets our criteria of what we're looking for. And I can get you an offer. You know what I mean? Pull it back, but make sure that you get into that discovery phase. All right. Make sure you get into the discovery phase, because if you most of your conversations about the property, you're going to lose. You're going to lose to somebody that has higher skills, especially if you're marketing, especially if you're sending direct mail, especially if you're doing pay-per-click or pay-per-lead or whatever it is, because you're not going to be the only one that's going to be giving them offers, right? So really build up your skills. Number 3, I was when I was getting restarted, I kind of had 2 parts of my career. I started in 2004, went for a while, lost everything in 2008, started crawling back out in 2010, 2011. And I went out and I didn't have a budget. So I just went and door knocked, and I was door knocking any properties in older neighborhoods. I knocked the whole neighborhood, see if anybody would sell a house. And I knocked on this gal's house. I think her name was Susan. I'm pretty sure her name was Susan. I should probably know that. It should probably be burned into my brain, but we'll just call her Susan. And I knocked on her door, and she didn't want to sell her house. She was on the end of the street on 42nd Place here in Phoenix, just up the road from my office here. And I knocked on her door, and she said she didn't want to sell. She loves her house. She loves the neighborhood. She loves that. But she is a caretaker for a property 3 houses down. Okay. So she has this property 3 houses down that is vacant. It's filled with a bunch of stuff, personal property, but nobody's living there. So she goes, let me do this. Let me go inside. Let me call the owner. Let me get the permission and see if they're open to you reaching out to them. I'm standing there. It's the middle of the summer. It's, I don't know, 114 degrees. I'm melting. I was a lot thinner and tanner back then. And I was waiting, and then she came out and she gave me a slip of paper that she had on like something like this, and she had just ripped it off. It was like a lined sheet of paper. She ripped it off, and it had the name, address, and phone number for the property owner. And I took that and I went right into my car and I called the owner, and we started building a relationship. I started finding out what was going on, discovery phase. And then we were able to put together a deal. And I realized, guys, right there, it doesn't matter what kind of CRM. It doesn't matter about automation. It doesn't matter about websites. It doesn't matter about logos. It doesn't matter about experience. It doesn't matter about LLCs. It doesn't matter about any of these things. If I have the name, address, and phone number of property owners that are in some sort of distress, that have some sort of motivation, I win. That's all I need. That's all I need. All I need is the name, address, and phone number of people that own ugly houses, that own properties that need significant investment. If I can get that, then my life will change forever. And it did change forever. Then I just started driving the neighborhoods, and I found every property that wasn't renovated, and I wrote down those addresses, and I went online. Now you could go to True People Finder, or you could go to cyberbackgroundchecks.com, or you could use the resources. It already comes with probates and foreclosures daily. And you just call them up. You call them up and you ask them if they would consider an offer on their property. And that's what I did. And then I was a little bit nervous and I didn't really know how to respond. And then I just kept writing down what people would say to me when I asked them if they would consider an offer on their property. And guess what? There's only 6 responses. I was calling everybody. I was on fire. I had so many bills, and I had this judgment against me that I had to settle and get an attorney and do all these things. So I was just like, the hunger and the fire in my belly was bananas. It was crazy. And then I realized there's just 6 responses. Yes, they would consider an offer. No, they wouldn't consider an offer. They maybe they consider an offer sometime in the future. How much will you give me is the 4th one. Who are you is the 5th one. And how'd you get my number is number 6. Every time I asked somebody if they would consider an offer on their property, I got one of 6 responses. So I just learned how to respond to those 6 responses, and I could just make calls almost unconsciously. And then I talked to 45,000 people. I made my first $1 million without a CRM. I would literally have a lead sheet that I would just fill out, and I kept it in an accordion binder that I got from Staples that had 1 through 31. And if today was, what's today? The 7th, I'd pull out the ones from the 7th and I do my lead follow-up. And that's how I did my first $1 million. Name, address, phone number, guys. That's all you need. That's all you need. Remove all the other stuff, because it leads me to number 4 on this. So first we have be a deal finder, not deal creator. If you're just following along, these are the 10 secrets I wish I knew. Number 2 is people over properties. Really focus on the discovery phase of the conversation. 3 is name, address, and phone number. That's all you need. Number 4 is 90% of this business is phone skills. 90% of the business is this. You don't have to, you don't have to be an appraiser. You don't have to be a contractor. You can, you don't, there's so many tools to be able to help you run comparables. I mean, you could run it right on Zillow in 2 minutes, right? You can factor in a price per square footage for fix up costs, just depending on how bad it is. That's 90% of this is your ability to communicate on this thing. And then some people run it completely virtual. They never step foot in a property. Never. They do everything over the phone. We have closed, I don't know, probably 100 deals without ever walking them. I mean, it's not our bread and butter. Most of the time we like to go out into to the appointment and meet the property owner, but 90% of this is phone skills, guys. Isn't that incredible? You could do it from anywhere, as long as you're comfortable talking to people. And that's been a philosophy of mine for a long, long time. TTP, talk to people. Talk to people every single day. Conversations and offers, conversations and offers, conversations and offers. And you could build an incredible business with huge margins because there's no overhead. So really, really let that sink in. How good are you on the phone and how do you get better? It's reps. It's reps. It's reps. You can practice. You can role play. You can find other people that maybe are a few steps ahead of you in their experience level and say, hey, listen, I keep running into this objection. How do I respond to this? But you got to get great on the phone. Number 5, I used to go down to Home Depot and they would give classes on the costs to renovate your house, putting in new flooring, fixtures, door frames, the whole thing. And I thought that as a real estate investor, I had to know everything about what it cost to flip a house. You can make a broad generalization. Seriously, you could get really, really, really close. You know, for most areas, for properties under 250,000, you're probably $30 to $35 a square foot for repairs, for cosmetic. And then add 10,000 on top of that for any major repairs, roofs, windows, pool resurfacing, air conditioners, those type of things. So you could go $30 to $35 a square foot and get really close, have a beautiful house with that. For a little bit up, you know, between 250 and 500, maybe closer to $40 a square foot, 40 to 45. And then if you get into California and some of these other areas that are Scottsdale here, you're closer to $60 to $75 a square foot. That's it. You don't have to listen. Our job is to find great opportunities. That's it. Whoever finds the opportunities wins. So you don't have to go out there and become a great at the contracting side. We will sell, I don't know, 12 to 15 houses a month now. And, we've never done like a breakdown of what the fix-up cost is. It doesn't matter because we wholesale them. So we'll sell those off to other people. But if we were to flip them up, I would just ask the contractor to tell me what it would cost to fix it up, and they tell me, and we'd make our numbers off of that. So don't think that you have to know everything about fixing up and be a contractor. Number 6. There is the 3 P's that really distract us. All right. The 3 P's are paralysis by analysis, perfectionism, and procrastination. Some people call procrastination quality control. That's silly. Let's be honest. But paralysis by analysis is real. Getting all the information and then just getting stuck. What about the contracts? What about the addendums? What happens if this happens? I've heard nightmare stories about this and this. Perfectionism. I need to make sure that I take Tangie's list and I need to make sure that the phone numbers are verified. I need to make sure that these properties are in really, really rough condition. I need to make sure that I only call them after hours, because that's the only time people pick up. I mean, we can hallucinate all sorts of things. But the fact is, it is not, it is about taking massive imperfect action. You're going to screw it up. Massive imperfect action. That's number 6. Just do it. Nike slogan, right? Just go out there, mess it all up. Mess it all up. If you, what is going to happen? You know what I mean? You've got inspection periods, you got contingencies and contracts. So if you can't, if you mess it up, then you either cancel it or you renegotiate it or you find somebody that can help you out. Massive imperfect action. You don't have to be perfect to start this. Just take action, have conversations, and make offers. Number 7, people think it is, and I thought, I should say, education plus action equals results. You learn a bunch, and then you take action, and that equals results. That's the right equation. But it's not. Because you don't learn unless you take the action. The action plus the results is your education. I can't tell you how many students I've talked to that know everything about this business and never done a deal. And then I talk to people that know nothing. They don't even know what the word escrow means. They barely know what title means. And they're doing 6 figures. And I say this, not to be rude, but it's accurate. The dumbest people make the most money. And I don't mean unintelligent. I just mean they're just going out there and doing stuff. They're not letting their mind, they're not putting all these barriers in front of them for them to go out there and take action. Right? They're just not. They're going out there and they're figuring it out. They're figuring it out with the results. That's their education. There's no theory based. Nobody's going to be the professor telling everybody the theory of these things, right? You have to go out there and actually do it. That's your true education. You can know everything. I remember I would go, I read Rich Dad Poor Dad in 2003, the summer going into my senior year of college. And I was like, no way I'm getting a job. This is what I'm doing. I'm going to be in real estate. This is what I'm going to do. So I went to real estate school, got my license. That was okay. And then I would just go to secondhand bookstores around the college, and I would find everything I could on real estate investing. Everything. I would go through Robert Allen, and I would go through Carlton Sheets, and I'll go through Robert Kiyosaki, and I'll go through anything, Dolph DeRoos. I'll go through all of those. And I would know exactly what was going on. Of course. I mean, it was all laid out right there, but I never talked to anybody. And so I'm taking this last semester of my school. I'm finishing up my degree. I've got my real estate license, but I haven't activated it yet. And I go home after my senior year of college, after graduating, back to my parents' house. So I didn't have a job. I didn't have a career prospect. I wasn't going to the job fairs or anything like that. And my dad's like, you've got 30 days to get out of our house. He's like, you're 22. Like, what are you doing? Like, I couldn't live in my parents' house after I was 18. Like, you need to get out of here in 30 days. And so I had to actually go out and talk to people. Actually go out and find opportunities. Actually go out and provide value to the community and the marketplace. And so I was kind of just thrust out there, and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to do. You know what I mean? So I hung my real estate license, and then I started the same routine, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get real educated on the whole process. And there was a bunch of people that were new, and they're getting in here from other careers, and they're sitting around at the conference table at the real estate brokerage, and we're all learning. We're all learning all these things. You got to do this, and you got to talk to your friends and family, and you got to do all these things to generate leads. And then nobody would ever do it. And then there was this guy, Chad, that was in the brokerage and barely could fill out a purchase agreement, had no idea how to put in all the information into the MLS, had somebody helping out with all this thing. And he was closing like 5-6 deals every month. And I was like, what is going on here? What is happening? So I just was like, what do you do? And he's like, I just tell everybody that I help people buy and sell houses. I just call up all the expired listings and all the canceled listings. And if there's any for sale by owners, or if I see any of those bandit signs that say, rent to own, or they say fix and flip, I just call them up and I see what's going on. And I just find people that want to buy and sell real estate. And I was like, you just call them up? And he's like, yeah. And you don't even know them? He's like, yeah, there's a whole bunch more people that I don't know than I do. And I was like, oh, well, that makes sense. That makes a whole lot of sense. And so that's when it kind of clicked. And I understood that as long as I'm being proactive, and as long as I understand that the education truly comes from the action and the results that I have from that action, I'm always going to be okay. I can get out of any stupid mistakes I make in my 20s, which I made plenty of them. I had to crawl back out in my late 20s, early 30s, and then crawled back out. And it's literally changed my life. Now, after that, I've talked to 45,000 property owners and done, I don't know, thousands of deals. Not overthinking it. Not really too scientific of a strategy. Just seeing people that are in ugly situations or have ugly houses and calling them up and seeing if they would consider an offer. That's it. Action plus the results is your education. All right. Now, this is for all you wholesalers out there. And I think everybody should have wholesale as part of their business. I know wholesaling is the foundation. If you're going to be a full-time real estate entrepreneur, if that's your goal, then finding deals is everything. That leads to everything. I don't care if you want to fix and flip. I don't care if you want to buy and hold. I don't care if you want to develop. I don't care if you want to lend money. I don't care if you want to coach people on doing any one of those things. The foundation is you got to be able to find deals. And that's all wholesaling is. Wholesaling is the art of finding discounted properties. So that's the foundation of everything. All right. And so as you're building it up and you find opportunities that you don't want to buy yourself or keep in your portfolio, you got to sell to other investors. And without a doubt, this is number 8, guys, out of the 10. And then we'll open it up to questions. Okay. Number 8 is the more buyers you have, the more business you'll do. And let me explain why. There is a hierarchy of buyers. Okay. If you're going to be doing wholesale, it's got to be cash buyers. Okay. But there's plenty of cash buyers. There's millions of cash buyers. And there's a hierarchy. When you get a deal and you put it out to other wholesalers, you're going to make the least amount because there's got to be spread for them to make some. Next to that is fix and flip. Okay. Next to that is BRRRR strategy. Where you buy it, you renovate it, you rent it, you refinance it, and you pull all your money out and do that again and again and again. Those people will pay more than a typical flipper. Way more than a wholesaler. And then next is value add buyers. These are the people that are going to buy properties and either tear off part of it and add on or add a second story or whatever, right? They're just adding square footage, costs them $150 a square foot. They get $300 a square foot when it's done. Typical in high appreciation markets. All right. What's up, Randy? Good to see you, bud. Next after that is going to be your buy and hold investors. Okay. Next after that is going to be your people that want to live in that property and be a cash buyer, but they're looking for a deal in a specific neighborhood. After that is your institutional or your hedge fund buyers. And then at the very top is creative finance buyers. They'll pay over retail if it's a good cash flowing, good asset. So there's a hierarchy of cash buyers. And so the more that you understand that hierarchy, the more you don't get pigeonholed into just selling specific properties to specific types of buyers. And the more buyers you have, the better. Okay. Awesome. Number 9. And Randy can give a testament to this. 99% of the challenges that you're going to have are going to happen after you get the contract signed. After you get the agreement signed, right? Title issues, issues with the seller showing up, issues with people trying to get the seller to take a different offer, even though they've already committed to you. Buyers aren't putting down earnest money, or they're not real buyers, or they need to push back the closing because this deal's closing and they need the money from this deal to close this deal, all of these things, right? 99% of the challenges that you're going to face happen to you once you get the contract signed. The reason I say that is, don't just sign an agreement to buy somebody's house and then turn it into title and then find a buyer for it and then disappear. You will lose so much. I can't tell you, guys, I cannot tell you how many people give up on $5, $10, $20, $30,000 deals because an issue pops up and they don't want to solve it. They don't know how to solve it. So let me give you some really, really, really strong advice. If you're not working with the absolute most gangster, best, most experienced escrow and title officer and or closing attorney in your market, you are making a huge mistake. Huge mistake. You have to find the best one. It's easy to find. Go into any investor groups and just type in, I'm looking for the absolute best escrow officer to do wholesale deals, to do creative deals, to do whatever, flips, do all that stuff. And people will respond. And then just look at whoever's getting the most responses and reach out to them and start building a relationship. Because I am telling you, they will take like 90% of those 99 problems away from you if you have a really, really, really great escrow officer. Okay? Like, that is really important. They got to tell you exactly when the earnest money's in. They got to tell you exactly what's going on with those buyers. They got to tell you exactly if the seller's getting wiggly. They got to tell you exactly if there's paperwork that needs to be done with title. They need to tell you all those things. They need to communicate with you. They need to solve problems with you. My escrow officer, literally, I was just on the phone with her before we got on this, and a buyer's getting wiggly on a deal. And she goes, you know what? I got a buyer that buys in that area. Let me reach out to him and send him the deal. That's the type of escrow officer you need. That's the type of closing attorney you need. Okay? Because they will make your life so much easier, and they're part of your team. They're part of your team. And so make sure that you are working with the best of the best of the best. All right? Because I'm telling you, our money is not made in getting that deal under agreement, under contract, signed. Our value is getting it through the finish line. Finding really great buyers that are really legit and getting it closed. Okay? And the last one is this, number 10. 10 secrets I wish I knew before I got started. Outbound, you should be proactive for your first 250,000 in this business. You should be reaching out. You should be calling or texting or door knocking or being really proactive. Really, really, really proactive. So direct mail, if it's really specific to the probate and foreclosure list, that's great. But you got to be really, 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 really proactive for your first 250,000. Because as soon as you start doing inbound marketing, as opposed to outbound's being proactive, you're reaching out to them. When you're reaching out to them, you typically catch them before everybody knows that they're selling, which means you're just negotiating with the property owner, right? If it's inbound, you're not the only one that's going to go on that appointment. And if you have no experience, you're going to get beat like a drum by your competition. They're going to have better skills. They're going to have more experience. They're going to know how to get the seller on their side versus yours. And I have seen so many people, and this is another problem. It was like number 9 with just giving up when a problem arose. And number 10 is people will go out there, they'll listen to what I'm saying, they'll go out and find a deal, make 15, 20, 25, 30, $45,000, and then they'll start doing marketing and give it all back to the marketing companies. No systems in place, no experience, no sales process. They don't follow the 5 steps, right? The 5 steps that you should take on every single phone call that you have. They're trying to negotiate against the seller. It's a whole mess. And then they give all their money back to their marketing. They don't have their schedule set up for this business. They don't know that you have to drop everything when an incoming call comes in. They don't have systems set up for that. So they miss the calls, which means that they don't get a call back. They're off the meeting with somebody else. And then you just waste a whole bunch of money. You waste a whole bunch of money. So my advice to you is outbound, be super proactive for your first 250,000 in this business. And then you can start building in the systems for inbound, because inbound is much more expensive. Having people call you is much more expensive. And so be as proactive as possible for your first 250,000 and then start making those moves. Because if you're good enough to make 250,000, you've got some systems down, you got your skills down, you got your process down. You may or may not be full-time in the business, but you've got a good focus on this business. It's not just like a side hobby type of thing. And you can really change your life. You can really dramatically change your life. This is the best business ever. Real estate's the best business ever. I think wholesaling is the best strategy ever. You can make a boatload of money, pay off all your personal debts, your cars, your student loans. You can pay off your mortgage if you want. Plenty of people have. I have. You can pay off anything. You can buy properties free and clear, or leverage that to buy as many properties as you want. It is the engine of your business. You replace your income so you could go full time in this. I mean, that's exciting. Not having to work with anybody, firing your boss. How good of a day is that when you go in and fire your boss? It's the best day ever, because you've got a machine that's up and running that finds great opportunities. You've got lists, get them from Tangy Cousins. You reach out to them, you make offers, you screw some things up, but they get done. You watch it like a hawk, you get it through the finish line. And then you go over and over and over and over. It's the best. This is the best business ever. So for Lucy, I got you 10 times. I mean, 10 times. I'm not going to do it 10 times. Here's the list of 10. Number 1, we're deal finders, not deal creators. Okay. Don't go fishing in the desert. That's what I like calling it. They have to have made the decision that they're going to sell their property. Deal finder, not deal creator. Number 2, people over properties. People over properties. Pull the motivation. Find out why they're selling. Why is this going to be good for their life? Remember this. Have this vision. They're on Hell Island. They want to get to Heaven Island. And there's certain routes. There's certain bridges. Now, some of the bridges are all over the place. It'll take a long time, but they'll finally get there. And some are direct across, and some should just be knocked down right away. Our job is to find out which bridge is right for them. And in that, they discover what bridge is right for them. Okay. Number 3, all you need is a name, address, and phone number. All you need is a name, address, and phone number. You have that, you're set. Number 4, 90% of this business is a phone skill business. Beautiful. 2024. Can run everything from that thing right there. I don't know how big this is, but it's, it goes with us everywhere. You can estimate average fix-up cost, so don't get lost in the weeds. There's number 5. Number 6 is take massive imperfect action. Number 7 is action plus results equals education, not the other way around. Number 8 is more buyers equals more business. The more cash buyers you have that have different strategies for their exit, have different, the more exit strategies you have, the more money you'll make. And that just means getting more buyers. Number 9 is 99% of the problems you will have or happen after you get the agreement signed. Strap in. It's going to be exciting. Every single deal, something comes up. You're going to have to be a problem solver. Number 10, outbound for the first 250,000 and then inbound after 250,000. And I would say, once you get to that point, just make sure that all your systems are clean and you're in this business full time and you're able to really make something special happen. Build the machine that's going to fund your retirement. It's going to fund the way that your family looks at money. It's going to fund maybe you haven't come from a family that talks about money or makes a lot of money. Maybe money's evil. But you got to change all that by just talking to people, by just solving the problems of property owners that won't solve themselves. And the fact is 6 to 10% of the real estate market, according to the 2020 US Census, is in distress at all times. 6 to 10%. We have 143 million residential units. It's upwards of 14 million properties. There's way more properties than there are us, and there's way more money out there for those properties than there are deals. So we're in the perfect spot. We're in the perfect spot. Just take massive imperfect action. Thank you, guys. That is my presentation.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brent. We really appreciate that. What I have to share with you guys is we're actually doing a buy one, get one free for anybody who mentions Brent Daniels in this webinar. You're going to get a free county if you take action, like he said, by Friday. So you buy one county we want to do at least 6 months, Brent, not 3 months, because we like them to try to make a longer commitment. The people that make the longer commitment do tend to be more successful because they're using it longer. It tends to have time to produce, function, and show results. It gives your list the chance to work. So right now, if you purchase 26 weeks, you get one list, typically one county. But now you're going to get 2 counties, guys. You don't have to pay half off for the second county. You get 2 counties if you take action between now and Friday for the 1 county rate, and that's discounted with Brent's discount. And then, of course, if you get the year, it's $1,750, saves you another couple $100, and you get 2 counties. So you buy probate or pre-probate or inheritance or divorce or eviction, you get 1 list, 2 counties between now and Friday, guys. That's the deal that we're going to give you guys for being on this webinar. And we thank you so much, Brent, for taking your time out to do this with us. We love you. Foreclosures Daily loves you. And we look forward to having you on again, hopefully next year.
Awesome. Thank you. Any questions?
Not a problem. And the thing is before we do get out of here, we have no questions. You answered them as you went. And I just answered the last one. Somebody wanted to know the difference between probate and pre-probate, which I explained. Pre-probate is 1 week after the death, and the probate's 1 week after they file. And you answered the other ones. So, we're good to go. That means you taught them so much, and you told them everything they needed to know, and they have no questions.
Awesome, guys.
Thanks a lot. Have an amazing evening, you guys. Thank you.
Love you guys. See ya.
Bye.